How's it going, everyone? It's Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber, back again with another video, and I've got with me the one and only LehuaJoy, aka Super Fina.
Hi!
So, you guys familiar with her? She does a lot of Let's Plays and live streams, and she does some reviews here and there. She's got a new website coming, so definitely make sure that you stay tuned to her. Follow her on twitter.com/LehuaJoy, I believe. Yeah. And so with that being said, we're here to talk about an amazing game. You can see it in the background here on the monitor. It's called VIII. It's super phenomenal. It's technically the 9th entry canonically within the series. This is made by Falcom, and this was actually put out by NIS America, so shout out to them for the review code. And this is Lehua's first VIII game ever.
Very first. Never played the series ever.
And this is actually my 7th VIII game, so I'm coming at it from someone who's played it, from the 80s onwards. She's coming at it as a completely new player, and we're going to give you our review and let you know whether or not it's actually worth it or not. So stay tuned, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and roll the intro music.
Donna, I have answered the call of the great tree of origins and offered myself to become its appointed maiden. I want to know what happened to the kingdom of Eternia after. Why can't I remember? Let's fight together, Adol, until the very end.
In case you didn't know, this is my 3rd time reviewing this game, as last year I reviewed this on the PS4, and then earlier this year I reviewed it on Steam, and now I'm reviewing it on the Nintendo Switch. For those that may not know, VIII originally released in 2016 in Japan on the PlayStation Vita, and is part of the 30-plus year series that in many ways rivals The Legend of Zelda, as both series originated roughly around the same time in the 80s. While Zelda has been one of the pioneers and landmark franchises of Nintendo, and has had a lot of classic after classic titles, and many flops such as the CDI entries, the VIII series has never caught on in the West, nor has it been warmly received, nor able to maintain a continued stream of mainstream success, and has often been relegated to a niche franchise that, while in Japan would be regularly released and is highly beloved, we in the West would sparingly get the games, and oftentimes from various publishers, and many taking various liberties with the plot and other aspects of the game, thus fragmenting our ability to get into the series. That is until Falcom have allowed XSEED Games to take the helm and bring nearly all the entries to the PSP and the Vita, and other PlayStation home consoles. And now with the 8th entry, or 9th entry if you include Origin, and NIS America at the helms, we are now able to experience this masterpiece on the Nintendo Switch. VIII Lacrimosa of Donna stars our series protagonists Adol, Christian, and deuteragonist Donna, as their stories happen between 2 different time periods separated by millennia, on the land that once was and an island where no one leaves. Adol and his companion Dogi are off on another of their legendary adventures, and they eventually become lampooned on the cursed Isle of Siren, when the Lombardia that they were working and traveling on comes under attack from an enormous Kraken-esque beast, which strand Adol and the other survivors on the Isle of Siren, of which they will need to work together in order to escape. And that island has a reputation for death to anyone who is unfortunate to land there. Adol must explore the isle and search for the ship's crew. These crewmates are crucial to survival. They include a smithy forge, item shop, a cook, doctor, armor shop, and more. What's more is, without any gold in the game, your only currency is trade. Collecting loot is important, as you'll be using it to trade. Much of the common loot is easy to find, so rounding up items for potions won't be hard. Donna happens to be an inhabitant of the very same island a millennia in the past, and serves as a seer of sorts for the Eternian civilization, and she foresees the imminent destruction of her world. What ties Adol to Donna? How does he have dreams of the past and she of the future? That is one of the many mysteries you'll want to uncover as you traverse the Isle of Siren, and the story and storylines start to blur and evolve into an experience that's grand and memorable for an adventure that will stay with you.
So different from Mekel Kasanova, I have never played from the E series. This is my first time playing Ys 8, and the thing that I've noticed is there is always something to do. Story, find fellow castaways, complete quest, improve barricades, improve equipment, discover locations, harvest, grind, trade, hunt, cook, brew medicine, protect base from raids, treasure hunt, etc.
And even though the Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Steam versions of Ys 8 do still show their Vita or PlayStation Vita roots from time to time, the game still can look stunning even if the visual bar isn't hit quite as consistently compared to as it is on the Vita. Ys 8 runs at 1080p with an unlocked frame rate and frequently hits what feels like a solid 50 to 60 frames per second in most scenarios on the PC and PS4 Pro, while on the Nintendo Switch docked, it runs at a 30 frames per second just as it does on the original version on the Vita and the base and slim PS4 model variants, although there can be dips when too much is happening on screen at one time. On the Switch in portable mode, it runs at 720p at 30 frames per second, and when I first played the game, it did feel like the world would chug with the, poor optimization that it felt like initially. However, a small patch update did fix all those issues. Let's talk about the game's animations, which aren't perfect. It largely uses the texture quality of a PS3 game, which further shows that the game was worked on with a lower budget than most, which will result in many cutscenes and many of your side quest animations and story being detailed through text. Ultimately, this means don't expect a visual masterpiece. It does make up for those shortcomings with its beautiful and artistic presentation, however. Detailed character models, beautiful vistas of the island of Siren, they do definitely give the world its own identity. The most beautiful part of this game and all Ys games is the character artwork, which is visible in the main menu. It is some of the best anime character artwork that I've ever seen in an RPG, ever. The action is fierce and addicting. The beauty here is that certain fighters are better against certain enemies, and switching out the lead player-controlled fighter in the middle of combat is the key to success. Combat is handled in real time, as Adol and his team, which consists of 2 other active adventurers, hacking and slashing their way all over Siren Island. Adol is a swordsman, and his attacks are rather basic. Laxia and Hummel are both marksmen, with Laxia using a classy fencer sword and Hummel using a rifle, while Sahad is a tank, who uses half of a ship's anchor to crush enemies. On the fly, character swaps make combat fun and exciting, without making it too complicated. And depending on your console of choice, by pressing the Y button on the Nintendo Switch, square button on the PS4 and Vita, or if you're on the PC and using an Xbox controller, you press the X button, which switches the character so Adol could attack a giant crab, and then the player can turn their attention to a swarm of wasps by switching to Laxia, who is strong against flying types. In the same beat, a shelled crab could attack, which could be easily defeated by Sahad and his waiting anchor. Each character also has a map set of combat skills that can be devastating when effectively used.
Attacks generated by SP or skill points. There is a SP gauge for the use of skills learned through battle. A player will learn a variety of skills and have the freedom to assign up to 4 skills to buttons A, B, Y, and X. You hold R to use a skill assigned to A, B, Y, and X. Remember, skills cost SP, and the SP gauge needs to be refilled by attacks. A skill can be leveled up by every use. This strengthens the skill to the point of maxing it out, but that takes a lot of use. Then there is the extra gauge, This gauge is generated by skills. Once it's filled, you hold R and L to unleash the extra skill of a character. A very powerful attack, like going Super Saiyan for like half a minute. Each character has his or her own unique extra skill. It's cinematically awesome! Then there's advanced tactics, which are flash move and flash guard. Flash move is activated by pressing L at the right moment to evade an enemy's attack. You will gain temporary invincibility and increased mobility. Flash guard is activated by pressing R to block an enemy's attack right when it connects. The player will gain invincibility, SB and extra gauge will fill quicker, and all attacks will be critical hits for a short time. Timing is key and not easy, so it's best to master these advanced tactics early in the game because they will be tremendously helpful with boss fights and areas infested with enemies. All of these fighting techniques will benefit you in raids and hunts, aka horde mode, when the player must stay alive and protect base from increasingly difficult waves of enemies until the end. During the game, the base will be attacked by beasts. Adol and his team will protect one area, while the rest of the castaways protect another. At first, these raids will seem really long and tedious, because you're at a lower level. But as you level up, defeating enemies will get easier. Sub-characters will also assist you in your area during raids. Opportunities to raise approval rates with each castaway helps. As their approval rates increase, their assistance gets stronger, and thus also ending raids quicker.
Ys 8 easily has one of the best in-game soundtracks I've ever experienced, and my return to the Isle of Siren confirmed that. Ys 1 and 2 were composed by the infamous Yuzo Koshiro, known for Streets of Rage, Etrian Odyssey, Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, and ActRaiser. Ys 6 Arc of Nephishtim had arguably one of the best soundtracks on the PS2, thanks in part to its epic heavy metal boss theme, Mighty Obstacle. All that being said, what Ys 8 brings to the table are so many beautiful melodies from such eclectic styles. Jazz, rock, metal, and other kinds of music are found here. One of my favorite songs when I'm in battle is called Smash Up, and when I'm roaming the island, Sunshine Coastline is everything that you could expect. You'll hear everything from beautiful strings, piano, and guitars, all suiting the mood that branches between an island adventure and a mystical epic, uncovering the truth of a secret civilization, and more. I finished the game months ago before its initial PS4 release, and the soundtrack is already inspiring nostalgia. Ys 8 has a beautiful soundtrack, one that stands, I would say, on the level, or if not exceeding the level, of the likes of Nier Automata, Persona 5, and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Voice acting was pretty important in this game too. Facial expressions are limited. Thankfully, voice actors succeed in delivering characters' emotions and personality. It was really important for actors to be able to portray the characters' personalities because they develop throughout the game. Relationships evolve and interactions transition from cautious strangers to live or die comrades.
Worth mentioning for those of you getting this on the PC is that Ys 8 for the PC is very clearly a PS4 port. The team who ported it didn't change the tutorial screens, and while using my Xbox One controller, the game explained all the button prompts with PS4 controller inputs in mind. While that minor complaint isn't really an issue in and of itself, I think it's still worth mentioning. And you know, what can I say in wrapping up this review other than Ys 8 is a beautiful game with a beautiful story. There's tons of mystery to be uncovered on the Isle of Siren, tons of extras to unlock, and characters you'll remember from a heartfelt adventure. If you've been eagerly awaiting the launch of Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana, and especially on the Switch, then I wouldn't hesitate to buy this now. There's no reason to be passing on one of the best JRPGs of this generation of games. Lehua and I will have to say that this is Kasanova approved.
Yes!
Alright, and that wraps up this video, guys. Again, I want to thank LehuaJoy for coming on to the video to be part of this review. I mean, this game is phenomenal. this is actually, in case I already said in the review, I've reviewed this game like 3 times already. I've played it on the PS4, the PC, and now on the Switch, and it's truly a phenomenal game. NIS America did a good job with the localization of it. I think it's up there as one of the top Ys games, up there with Ys 7. And what do you think about it? How do you feel about the game?
It's really fun, like surprisingly fun. It's what really makes it is the story, because as you play, you level up, you develop your character and the characters you play with. Like, the whole thing grows with you, and the story, you just want to know what happens next, and you play it until the very end.
And every time you think you've got the story figured out, it changes. And I like the narrative of it, the duology of having 2 protagonists. Like, they really play off each other well, Adol and Donna. And I have nothing bad to say about the game. And I think for Nintendo fans, for a lot of you, this may be your first entry to the Ys series. I know it was for her. And I think you guys will like Adol. And hopefully NIS America and XSEED and Falcom will actually bring more to the Switch, so you can get reacquainted with the character. But anything you want to end the video with?
No, I'm good.
So that being said, thank you guys for watching. Shout out to NIS America for sending the review code that allowed us to review it.
Thank you.
And we look forward to having more reviews. Make sure you follow her on Twitter. So twitter.com/LehuaJoy. She will be having a website coming up pretty soon with all her reviews. She's got a lot of things in the works. And yeah, make sure you also subscribe to her on YouTube as well. I have the link down in the description below. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Too sweet, be the elite, and I'll catch you in the next one.